Hello, my name is Shure. Enjoy. Hello and welcome. This is a slightly different video, yet a video which I am very passionate about making, and they are the videos talking about films. Hopefully I plan on making a lot more videos about this because eventually one day I want to make films. But anyway, as a first introduction to my, well, I suppose almost like a film type review, I wanted to talk about my current 3 favorite films. And starting with film number 3, we have Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, the extended and unrated cut. Now this film right here is criminally underrated. I genuinely think that this is my second favourite Quentin Tarantino film. The next one, well, you just have to wait for the next, but this film right here is a genuine, underrated masterpiece. I absolutely love this film. I think it's just absolutely brilliant. All the characters are great. The way the film is shot, being in the first half is like this gritty, grainy film, and then it cuts to some crisp black and white shots for one scene, and then the film plays out in the end in this beautiful 35mm film. I can't remember what the film is, I do apologise, but this film right here, Death Proof, if you haven't seen it and you are a fan of Quentin Tarantino, you will absolutely love it. It's just such a perfect film. It has everything, and it's just any scene, and Kurt Russell is in it, and I think his performance is one of his greatest. Like I honestly get lost for words talking about this film. I love it so much. And the car in this film is fantastic. It's this matte black car with a big white skull on it. It is the most menacing car I think I've ever seen. But I don't want to talk about it for too long. But a couple of things I will mention is this film. One of my absolute favourite shots is when you first are introduced, I should say, to stuntman Mike, played by Kurt Russell, and he's basically this like psychopath who loves to kill women in his car. I know it's a bit bizarre to love a character like that, but the way Kurt Russell plays him is absolutely fantastic. And one of the greatest character introductions shots I've ever seen. He's sitting there, he's munching on nachos, and these two people are making fun of him, and he's just this stone cold face. And one of my absolute favourite camera shots in all of film history, when the group of characters are sat chatting at the bar, and Kurt Russell just simply turns and looks over his shoulder, but the camera goes straight in on his eyes, and it is just the most menacing look. You know everything you need to know about that character from one single glance. And it's just, I gotta give credit to Quentin Tarantino, it's a fantastic shot. But yes, a highly recommended film. The best car chase in film history is in this film, and the best car crash in film history. It's great. It shows the crash from every perspective in each character, and the practicality is incredible. But anyway, that is number 3. We will go on to number 2 now. And film number 2, also from Quentin Tarantino, and probably I don't think by law you're allowed to have a top film list without including this film, and it is Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino. And, well, the thing about this film is, I don't need to say how good it is, because if you've seen it, you already know, and it is absolutely brilliant. The script for this film, the dialogue, it is the most quotable film I have ever seen, and an absolutely stacked cast. John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Maria de Moretos, sorry I might have butchered that a bit, Ving Rhames, Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette, I'm sorry I butchered that as well, Christopher Walken, and Bruce Willis. How did you get a cast like that for your second film as well? You're so lucky. But anyway, this film follows, if you haven't seen it, a rough plot. It's kind of plays out as 3 different storylines, and they all interconnect at some point, and each characters eventually cross paths and interact, which changes the overarching story. And it is just brilliant. Quentin Tarantino is even in the film himself, but he is in a lot of films. But yeah, no, Uma Thurman, absolutely fantastic in this film. I think one of her greatest roles. I mean, her in Kill Bill as well is still fantastic. And, well, linking back to Death Proof, Zoe Bell, who plays one of the characters, well, she plays Zoe Bell in Death Proof, is actually Uma Thurman's stunt double for Kill Bill, which is very nice. So I think Quentin Tarantino casting Zoe Bell as the person in the final car chase that's on top of the car is just brilliant. But yeah, so anyway, Pulp Fiction, it is a true masterpiece. There is really no words to describe it. The characters are cool, they're mysterious, it's almost, they're gangsters, but I think what ties it all together is the dialogue. The most, quote, royale with cheese, say what again, it's just perfection. And everyone is fantastic, there is not one bad performance. And I also love Ving Rhames in this film is great. From Mission Impossible to this, it's just seamless. Anyway, that was my second favourite film. But for my number 1 spot, it isn't a Quentin Tarantino film, although most of them would be in my top 10. Finally, my favourite, and some people might be very disappointed by this, however, I absolutely love it. And that is the extended cut of James Cameron's Avatar. I just think it's the perfect film. I mean, yes, it won loads of awards and it is the highest grossing film ever, but I personally just love it. I mean, a lot of people probably say these days that Avatar's really overrated now, but I think the effects of the time when this was made, I can't even remember, 2007 or something, 2008, 2009. It's just how did he achieve that back in 2009? It's just stellar, and I think everyone should watch it. I mean, it is quite sci-fi, and the whole, but the message is brilliant of how we should look after the environment, and I mean, that's the most important part. In this film perfectly demonstrates how the human race basically destroy their own planet, so they fly off into space and seek refuge somewhere else, and in doing so destroy all the natives and kill them all, which kind of sums up, the human race. But anyway, I think it's such a perfect film. I get completely lost in the world. And a slight side note to that, Avatar 2 is, well, still, I think, absolutely fantastic. I still think Avatar 1 is just perfect. Slightly better than the second one, but a little story time. When I went to see the second one in cinema, I had to see it a few times, obviously, but I went to see a iSense 3D screening, and I accidentally hurt my eyes when I came out of the screening. I had big red lines right across my eyes where I didn't blink enough, and I thought it would never happen, but I was so engrossed in the film I'd slightly burnt my eyes, which was quite fun. But what an experience that was, because I've never necessarily been a big fan of 3D films, but something like Avatar, you really do get lost in the world. I find sometimes with 3D you can get a bit of a headache, but I think James Cameron unfortunately absolutely loves 3D. But yeah, seeing the film in 2D and 3D was amazing on the big screen. But yes, Avatar, a film where a guy goes to a different planet to take control of an avatar. He's a guy in a wheelchair, and he has access to this avatar that can do things he'd only dream of. And eventually he wants to join the natives, and he sees the destruction that the human race is causing and wants to defend the planet. And I think the messages are just perfect, and it sums up the human race perfectly. So that is my top 3 favourite films at the moment. The list is endless. There has been some absolutely fantastic films come out recently, and yes, but those are my 3. I have to stop myself actually, because I could talk about those films for hours and hours and hours, and actually that might be a good video idea, because it would probably bore you to sleep. But anyway, that's a different idea. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little different, but I plan on making a lot more film related content in the future. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.